Barbie. Good morning. Welcome to a week of study mornings, doing some personal curriculum research and studying before I start my day job. I am not a morning person. I normally get up, used to be 6:30 and now it's at 7, to make my mum a coffee and to possibly have the opportunity to stay up and do something productive. But usually, and I mean like 99% of the time, I get back in bed and then get out of bed at the last possible moment to get dressed. I work from home, so I can crawl out of bed and get dressed and then just go downstairs and start working, which is probably not the best motivator for actually having a productive morning. When I say productive, I don't mean just work. I want to implement a mind, body, soul, or mind, body, spirit sort of holistic morning routine. But I know if I start trying to implement a lot of new routine things, I'm just going to fail. So I'll probably try to start one new thing a day. So for the body part of the mind, body, soul, I need to do stretches because I have very stiff back generally every day due to, desk posture. For soul, I'm going to at least journal. And for mind, studying. And this week's topic is going to be New Kingdom mortuary temples. That's one of the things on my personal curriculum, so I'm going to do that. Now it's 8 o'clock already and I start work at 8:45, so I don't have much time. I've spent quite a bit of time this morning getting ready to film this video, but for the rest of the mornings this week, I'm going to get up earlier anyway, because this morning I got up at 7, but I'm going to get up at 6:30 for the rest of the week. Tomorrow I have signed up for Kate from Accepted Society's 5 a.m. club. I'm not going to be getting up at 5 a.m. No, but I at least will hopefully start some work by 7 o'clock, which will give me just under an hour and 45 minutes to do my studying. But let's crack on now. I'm running out of time. Yeah, it's 1 minute past 8, so let's get some studying done.
I don't know if I can find my way out. I'm stuck in a prison of doubt. In this torsion, and everything is growing up tight. There's no room to breathe, and nobody
So I've managed to take a page and a half of notes, which is great. I finished that section of the book I was reading. And after morning one, I think it has been a success. I haven't got anything extra done, like stretching or journaling or anything, but I did have a late start. But the success of this morning, besides writing the notes, was that I feel awake, which I don't when I crawl out of bed, manage to get dressed and then sit at my work desk for the start of my actual day of work. So at least I don't feel groggy and I don't feel grumpy. So that's a success. Okay, I'm going to work now. See you tomorrow. Good morning. It's Tuesday. I'm not awake. It is another fair day on planet Earth. The sun is hiding behind a cloud, or lots of clouds, and the sky is very grey, which is fine because it makes me feel like it's autumn, which I love. I love jumpers and blankets and hot chocolate, and it not being 25 degrees on a daily basis, and me being able to take my dog out and not worry about her overheating. I've just finished on a 5 a.m. club co-working session from Accepted Society held by Kate, and I didn't get much time there, about 20 minutes, because I had to set up and stuff. But I've taken notes on Amenhotep I and Ahmose Nefertari's mortuary temple at Dra Abu el Naga on the west bank of Thebes, and now starting on Hatshepsut. I'm so lucky to have time to myself in the mornings, but I just get back in bed and just literally waste the morning by sleeping more. So I need to use the time that I have at bedtime to get to bed earlier, but to have a better bedtime routine, to wind down and to get things done, like clearing my bed, which I use as a table during the day, and get those things done. Ruby's just knocked the tripod. Get those things done earlier and have a more productive bedtime routine, in that instead of me having to do things to clear my room and get ready for bed, it should be more of a wind down routine at bedtime. So I'm going to get back to my desk now, and I'm going to work for about half an hour before I run downstairs and start the day job. Good morning. It's Wednesday morning, and I've decided to sit in my chair, my lovely armchair, and instead of taking notes, I'm going to actually read. So this is The Rise and Fall of Ancient Egypt by Tony Wilson. I've had a lovely time reading my book, but I know that I'm not going to remember any of it because I have an awful memory when it comes to being confronted with a lot of information at the same time. What I'm going to do is create a timeline on my computer. I love to do anything I can by handwriting it, but unfortunately this will be too complicated to actually do in a notebook or something. I have to do it on a computer, but it's going to be a table that is a chronological timeline, but on the right hand columns I'm going to do either coinciding events or reasons for why the historical event happened. So I've literally got like a couple of minutes left before I need to start work, so I'm gonna set up the table and then I'll fill it in later. Good morning, it's Thursday. I've had a late start this morning because I picked up my phone and started watching YouTube. So now I've got to block YouTube until a certain time in the morning. I'm also finding that I'm not as excited to get started with my work in the mornings, and I think that's because I am rushing to get started, and so rushing isn't very peaceful. It's not a very nice calm thing to do in the morning. Well, it's a complete opposite of calm thing to do, but I want to implement some nice calm transitional activities to do before I start the work, and I've not been doing that this week, so I really need to get a morning routine together that will feed my sort of the needs I have in the morning, that will make me feel like I am ready to start work. And I think it's more important that I have a good routine to start my day, even if it means that I get slightly less time to do some work in the morning, than I have no routine and don't want to do any work in the morning, so therefore I go back to bed and I don't do anything. I've recently realised that it's better to get something than nothing, even if my brain was saying, but you're getting less than you would have got. So for example, if my brain is saying, but you could have spent an hour and a half working in the morning, so therefore an hour isn't as much and it's not worth even trying. No, don't think like that. It's better to get anything done rather than the actual alternative, which is that I would actually end up back in bed and fall asleep and get nothing done. So instead of thinking that I'm losing half an hour, think I'm gaining an hour of work compared to what I would have done. Yesterday I had fun reading the history book, even though the timeline I tried to set up wasn't very useful because of the way I was getting confused about how and where to put notes. But anyway, today I'm back onto mortuary temples. ink, so I had to dip my pen like an old-fashioned. Good morning. It's Friday morning, the last day that I'm going to be making the video for this week of mornings, and I'm kind of glad because I haven't gone back to bed at all this week and I really want to. But that's bad because this is supposed to be a fresh start of not going back to bed and actually getting stuff done in the morning. But I definitely need to improve things. It's not great the way I'm doing it now. I'm not transitioning slowly into doing work. I'm not putting good things in place like the journaling or the, I don't know, meditating or whatever I'm supposed to be doing before I start the work. So a couple of times this week I've picked up my phone and then spent, like I've just done, like 45 minutes watching reels, which is absolutely terrible. I had blocked YouTube on my phone until I think it's like an hour after my first alarm. So that's great. And then I'd forgotten that Instagram does reels too, because I just don't use it for that purpose. And I was on it thinking I need to see if there's some interesting ancient Egypt posts and stuff, and accidentally swiped right and found the reels and spent like 45 minutes watching reels instead of doing anything productive. Not great. So I'm going to block that too. But I do need to implement some healthy transitional activities in the morning before I start work. So at least I've learnt that. I've also learnt that I definitely need to go to bed earlier and have a great bedtime routine. So anyway, some exciting things are happening today, mainly because I bought stuff yesterday on the internet, which was like £200 worth of stuff, because my lamp broke. So I've got a new lamp coming, but it was a lot cheaper than the ones that I was looking at online. So at least I saved some money there. I also bought my brother's birthday present. So me and my mum are going to go halfsies, but she hasn't paid me back yet. And then I bought a new mouse mat and keyboard wrist rest thingy for when I'm at my desk here, because the other day my, whatever that bony bit at the base of your hand, both of them were hurting from not having one. And a new laptop stand, because my laptop has been making funny noises when it's been quite angle thingy, diagonal angle. So I've got more sort of less steep angle one. And what else did I buy? Oh, a new little mini tripod. But next week I'm going to be starting work half an hour earlier, so I really do need to get a better morning routine and get to bed earlier. I'm going to crack on with my little exercise book. I've been reading about Hatshepsut's Dir el-Bahri temple, and I've been going into a lot more detail about it than I would have done. So this is the page, one of the pages. It's got beautiful colour photos. Hatshepsut's temple is at Dir el-Bahri, which is a bay of cliffs and like the low desert floor opposite opposite Karnak Temple in Luxor. And it's absolutely magnificent. It has been restored to the point where it probably looks very similar to the way it did in ancient times. And if you're ever in Egypt, do go. It's amazing. You can walk up the ramps and look down from the terraces. It's absolutely beautiful. And if you are there, look to the right and you will see two other temples. Well, you will see definitely one, and if you're lucky, you will see the other. But two other kings built their temples there. Mentuhotep-Neferpetra built his temple tomb, and that is my special subject. My specialist subject is his reign, and I'm currently doing a research project on the legacy of his reign and the commemoration of him. And also Tutmosis III built a temple there in between the two temples. So it's absolutely beautiful. But the reason I'm studying it in more detail is because it was based on Mentuhotep's temple. So I want to study Hatshepsut's in order to understand the legacy of Mentuhotep's own temple. I'm going to finish that this morning, and then I'm not going to go into so much detail about the other ones. And I'm only looking at New Kingdom temples, mortuary temples at the moment, but I then will probably end up comparing them to pre-New Kingdom funerary temples attached to pyramid complexes. So I'm going to get on because I'm running out of time. And then at the end, I will let you know my favourite fact that I've learnt this week. Hello again. This is my dead lamp. It functions as a lamp, but it just doesn't stand up anymore. The mechanism to actually hold lamp onto base is not well built and has broken. I finished the Hatshepsut part. So I've got two favourite facts that I have learned from Hatshepsut's mortuary temple. The first is that during the Ptolemaic period, so that's many hundreds of years after Hatshepsut's reign, the temple was restored because by then it had been already partly destroyed, and the cults of Imhotep and Amenhotep, son of Hapu, were worshipped there. And these were two architects, but they were also associated with medicine and wisdom. So Imhotep was the architect of the step pyramid of Djoser, and that was thousands of years before the Ptolemies. And Amenhotep, son of Hapu, was the architect of many of Amenhotep III's monuments. And Imhotep was deified. He was so revered and worshipped and loved in the Ptolemaic period. And as I said, he was associated with medicine, and I think that's why Amenhotep, son of Hapu, was too. And so there's a theory that the upper court of Hatshepsut's tomb, so you'd have to go up the ramps to get to it, was used as a sanatorium. I don't really like that term, so I'll put sanatorium in inverted commas. It just basically means a place people went if they were sick and seeking help. So I think it's really cool that people were able to access a temple to try to seek help in a place that didn't have hospitals as we know them and didn't have any sort of modern medicine as we know it, obviously, because it's modern, so it's recent. But the ancient Egyptians' medicine was a mixture of early medicine and magic. They thought that the magic was as important as any actual medicine that they had. And so they went to the temple in order to seek help from the gods, but also to seek help from priests who were learned people and might be able to give them at least support in the form of praying to the gods or seeking other help magically. And maybe they had some medical knowledge as well. So I think that was really cool. And then the other thing is, in the decoration of Hatshepsut's temple, in the portico of the first court, of the lowest court, there was, on the north side of the portico, decoration of the marshes of Lower Egypt. So that's the northernmost part of Egypt, which is the delta effectively, where it's quite wet and there's a lot of plants like papyrus that really flourish in the marshes. And on the south side of the portico is represented the quarrying and transportation of the magnificent and massive obelisks that Hatshepsut had carved and transported to other places in Egypt. So this is what I think, that by representing the northernmost part of Egypt and the southernmost part of Egypt on two ends of her temple, I feel like it means that the temple magically represents the whole of Egypt, which was very important symbolically for the king, or in this case, the female king, to be perceived as being monarch of the whole of the country, the king of Upper and Lower Egypt, lord of the two lands. I feel like it means that the temple magically holds the whole of Egypt in it. Temples were very symbolic and they did represent the marshes of Egypt, but I don't think they were designed to geographically represent Egypt, but I do wonder if that was the purpose of this representation. Also, it did represent an important part of Hatshepsut's reign, the quarrying and transportation of these huge obelisks. It was a very important thing that she did for Egypt's monuments, for Egypt's architectural portfolio, if you like, to basically one up the previous kings. That's what temple building was all about in the New Kingdom. You were trying to outdo your predecessors. I'm going to go to work now. I've had fun learning during the mornings this week, but I think I need to do it in definitely a more holistic way. So that's something I'm going to improve upon. And I hope I continue the not getting in bed, not getting back in bed in the morning. We'll see. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.